And we're live. But we're a little bit live and a little bit Zoom today. So we have our favorite holistic healthcare practitioner from Altoona, Pennsylvania, Michelle LePore. How is it up there in the sticks of Altoona, Michelle?
It's good here. Hi, Joe. It's so good to see you.
Yeah,
I wish I
good to
was there
see you.
live so
So
much,
do
but I
we.
couldn't out of Altoona today, unfortunately.
No, well, that
Yeah, it's a little
happens, and
hard
I know
during the
you're
week with
busy.
appointments here.
Well, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're busy,
Yeah, but
that's
it's
a
good to
good
see you.
thing. You're helping people out there, right?
That's a good thing.
And you
Next
got
time I'll do my best. Yes.
okay. Next time you got to come live and
Yeah.
in person. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Next time I'm
we have,
going to try very hard.
the last time we've had Michelle on two other times, and she gave us a firsthand account of her battle and victory over Lyme disease. And we went through the whole gambit of how the medical uh, procedure failed her and how the holistic
Right.
procedures helped. And I know Michelle has a brand new
Right.
PowerPoint for us today. And so, Michelle, I'm going to send it on over to you, and something comes up and I want to ask a question, I'll do that. But until then, I'm going to just give it over to you and let's hear what you got to say.
Yeah. Anytime you have any questions, just interrupt me. That's good. But I'll introduce myself for people who don't who have never seen me, who don't know me. I'm LePore. I am a wellness consultant at Everything Natural Under the Sun. I'm a 1998 graduate of Penn State University, and I just recently had returned to get my traditional naturopath degree. So that is something very exciting. So I'm moving up there, which I'm really. So I've been doing that. But yeah, I've been working Everything Natural for about 3 years, and I take clients. I do appointments. Really utilize the Zytoscan testing, to do clients to get to the bottom of their healthcare needs. I definitely specialize in Lyme as I have Lyme, and that's actually what got me into this field in the first place. That I am for about 25 years before doctors figured out that's what was. So that's a really long time ago with having so many symptoms and not knowing what's causing them. Because that happened to me, really have made it my mission to do so much research online. I went behind the scenes, reading every book I could, going to every training, even before I got into this as a field, just so that I could learn to help myself and learn to help others with this illness, because it is a challenge, like you said, every day. It's not fun to have Lyme disease. It's not fun. I have conquered it, but I still do have to be in a balance to keep myself healthy, because it's something that because I had it so long, it didn't really go away completely, sometimes. So
And how long did you have it? How long was it prior? This is a delay. How long did you have it before the diagnosis? How long did you have it prior to the diagnosis?
Okay, so I had Lyme about 25 years before I got diagnosed.
How about that's incredible.
So
Yeah.
it was 25 years of suffering, really. And then when I finally found out about 1996, I was finally diagnosed in 2000. And so I've been treating Lyme since 2015. And I won't lie, there are times and there are things I will go over later, because I want people to know this and kind of squash some misconceptions about other people with this.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to, there are triggers that will bring it to. So if you have chronic Lyme, you kind of need to do some things to keep it under control, So I'll go over all that too.
Okay.
I'm getting some words here that is that okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Joe?
The connection is a little bad. It's sometimes it breaks up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle, if you have anything else open on your computer, like any other tabs that you're not using, if you can close them. Um, and if you can get
Okay.
maybe closer to your router or something, I don't know. If that's not possible, that's fine. But yeah, closing other
Yeah,
applications will
I
definitely.
don't have anything else open. Yeah, there's nothing else open on the computer right now. So hopefully
All right,
this
no
starts
worries.
to go.
Yeah.
We need
Um.
some technology that sticks. That's
Anyway,
what.
yeah, 25 years. Yeah, yeah, right. Ugh. I don't have any fun, so I'm trying. But um, I
Go
see the
ahead.
rain here, Joe.
I
That's
know.
probably all the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so 25 years went by before I figured out I had Lyme. So that's basically the deal. Yeah, that's the reason that I got into this field. That's the reason I did all this research is because I wanted the doctors were missing it so much that, and I see this happen every day. So many people that they just don't have any idea they have Lyme, and there's a lot of people that show up, for an appointment with me that have all these symptoms that seem unrelated, and when I do the testing, the Zyto, it comes up for Lyme, and I don't know what to, I don't really, I have to help them out, say, listen, I think you have this underlying Lyme. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Mhm.
Um,
Is it
so much,
possible?
so much.
Is it possible that I mean, this could all go back to um, I mean, the original diagnosis and Lyme in itself. Maybe it's more of an all-encompassing disorder that we really don't know everything about yet, and people can have all these different symptoms with the same cause.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. I agree, Joe, 100%. And that's what I'm seeing in my appointments with people is that getting all these other diagnoses from the doctor. They're getting diagnoses of rheumatoid arthritis, of lupus, of all kinds of different autoimmune diseases.
Right.
There's cancers. There's everything. And when I do a scan, and underneath, you can do special scans to look for extra things. If these people show up with all kinds of bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungus, it looks like on a scan, you I want to do a little more digging because it looks like there's some pathogenic cause to their problems, and it always comes up that they have Lyme that they were exposed to. And so I do believe that you know, Lyme is a parasitic bacteria. So it's a bacteria that feeds off your body. That when there's nutrient deficiency, you're not absorbing nutrients, getting the proper things. There's so many processes that can go wrong in the body, which can create all kinds of autoimmune, kinds of other inflammatory issues. So I think that the underlying cause though is the pathogen. In a lot of cases, we can
And
get the inflammation, and we feel the gut, and we
mhm.
do all that, get the load, the virus down and stuff. It kind of helps.
So, in all of these cases, a lot of the ones that you're seeing that show up as Lyme on the Zytoscan, I mean, some probably have the physical characteristic of the bite, and some don't, right?
Yeah, and what I'm noticing is there's people that have it ago. Like I will say, have you ever been bit by a tick? Oh yeah, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And they did a Lyme test and negative, so I didn't worry about it. Well, the Lyme testing is so reliable, what I want to talk about. I want to let everybody know that the testing is so unreliable that I want
Hmm.
to give people signs and symptoms to look out
Hmm.
so that they can, if they recognize it in themselves and they have any of these diagnoses, that maybe they can look a little deeper and see, is there actually an underlying cause of Lyme. So if you want to, I can get into my PowerPoint and kind of go with it there.
Absolutely, because you're absolutely correct, and I think the inconsistency in the Lyme test mirrors the inconsistency in these PCR tests that have been used, ad nauseum for the last 3 years, and they're
Yeah.
inconsistent as well. So,
Right.
it all falls into that trap of
Right.
treating the lab and not the person. Okay, so yes, we know that. So let's get into the meat of it. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. If Phil wants to pull up my first PowerPoint, we can do that.
Okay.
So this is just a little meme that I had found that is pretty interesting. This is really, when you have chronic Lyme, this is really what it looks like. Every day seems the same. Your symptoms can get a little bit, they never go away. And you get so frustrated because you just want to feel better. And there can be pains, different parts, dizziness, headaches, vision, gut issues. They all seem unrelated, but they all kind of are related. And the underlying cause can be the lump. So that's one thing I wanted to say. But the next slide, we can skip to the next slide. Are some things that bite, that can bite you, that are not just ticks. So whenever there's a lot of people that think that you can only get bit by a deer tick in order to get Lyme disease. In actuality, there are so many different bugs that can bite to give Lyme. It is all kinds of difference. There can be any tick, not just deer ticks. There can
So you're
be
going to have to forward the slide.
mosquitoes, bed bugs. I have to forward the slide. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how to do that without being in that screen.
I think it might be better if I share it, and I think it might improve your connection. So hold on one second.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that.
Is still able? Okay, that's good.
Yeah. There's a new one. One's his son and one is him.
There you go. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so there are there's so many different strains of Lyme bacteria. There's 5 different subspecies of Borrelia burgdorferi, which is the bacteria, the parasitic kind of bacteria that's a spirochete that can cause Lyme. There's over 100 different strains just in the United States alone, and more than 300 different strains worldwide. The problem comes in when doctors saying, "Oh, it's just a deer tick," or that's what people think, and that there's just like 1 or 2 strains of Lyme that cause this bacteria, because in actuality there are hundreds of strains that can cause it. And the testing, why it's so unreliable, because they only test for 10 strains. So if you have Lyme and you have one of these other strains that aren't the ones they're testing for, it can come up as a false negative very easily. And I think that's where people get screwed up a lot, because they'll get bit, they go to the doctor and they say, can you test me? Well, first of all, it's an antibody test. So antibodies take a couple weeks, sometimes 2 to 3 weeks, even longer, to show up in the body. So if they are, just got bit last week, a lot of times that's going to show up negative just because of that. Then there's the issue with they're only testing for 10 strains when there's actually hundreds of strains. That's only 100. There's hundreds of strains of just that kind of bacteria, the Borrelia burgdorferi. But there are tons of different co-infections that come along with Lyme. There's Bartonella, there's Babesiosis, there's Mycoplasma. So there's all kinds of other parasitic bacterias and parasites and viruses that can also be transmitted in Lyme. And that's what causes a lot of the issue, because it's not one thing affects every person the same way. I could be infected with 10 strains from one tick, and this other person could have got 9 different strains, or 15 different strains. We just never know what's in that bug that bites you, and it can be coming from you can switch the slide now, Phil. The things that bite you, like I said, can be biting spiders, it can be ticks, fleas, mosquitoes, bed bugs. There's all these different we can get bit. Okay. So that's, that's a little bit different there too. So, because these people also believe another misconception is that they think, you have to have a bullseye rash. And if you don't have a bullseye rash, you must not have gotten Lyme from that bug or that tick. That's a misconception because only about 30 to 40% of people who are actually infected with Lyme get a bullseye rash. So
Wow. Okay.
the rest of the people, you're actually lucky and blessed if you do show up with a bullseye rash, because when you show up with the doctors with a rash, they actually will be like, oh, wow, you have Lyme. And then they will treat, even if your testing comes up negative, they'll still treat you because a bullseye
Right.
rash to the doctor is an automatic Lyme diagnosis. But Lyme should
Right.
actually be being diagnosed in the doctors as a more clinical diagnosis based on symptoms, since the testing can go so wrong, and if you're not lucky enough to get the rash, which I was not lucky enough to have a bullseye rash. I did get a rash, however. But the rash a lot of times shows up 7 to 4 days after you get bit by something. So a lot of times what happens is everything's delayed. The rash might show up 2 weeks after the bite. Then, if it doesn't look like a bullseye, my rash was just, I had a little bit of a rash, but it didn't look like a bullseye. And when I did go to the doctor, we don't know. Here's some ointment.
Well, Michelle,
don't
let me ask you. The rash, is it localized? Is it spread over the body? Because people,
Yeah.
that's going to be confusing too.
Yeah, it can, because here's the thing. Generally, generally the bullseye rash or any kind of rash will be localized around the bite. However, it can get worse, and you can get like bullseye rashes for your body. It can start showing up in kinds of rashes that spread and go into round circles all over the body. You can have rashes that look like scratches, like from Barton called cat scratch fever. It looks like scratches in your back, but it's actually a rash. You can get all kinds of different things, hives, things like actually, trying to give you a little bit of a clue that you have a problem here. So that's the problem, is because it can show up and present differently, and a lot of times initial symptoms when you get bit, they usually do show up 14 to 30 days after the bite, and they do show up as usually flu-like symptoms at first, but because it's usually 2 weeks to 30 days after your bite, you're not connecting the two things together a lot of the time. And if you don't have a rash, you're not even realizing. You just think maybe I had a virus, or I'm feeling a little under the weather or something. That's what I thought. I didn't even connect the two things. And a lot of people don't realize you might not get symptom bite right away. It might take 14 to 30 days to show with other symptoms, and if you go to the doctor and they don't treat you with an antibiotic within 30 days of that bite, it can get into your bloodstream and then travel into your cells and kind of burrow its way into your glands, your organs, your cells, your muscle tissue, connective tissue. And then that's why I had an issue, because it hides in those places. And then it comes out whenever your immune system goes low and you're struggling with this constant roller coaster of immune illnesses, different things that come up that you're just feeling like, why is my immune system struggling so much? Why am I always sick with something? Yeah, that's
Well, and that's because it becomes systemic, right? If it's not
right.
treated right away, because it's this type of an infection,
Right.
parasitic bacteria, it becomes
Right.
systemic, and then it can show up all over the body.
Exactly. So really, like you said, it's a spirochete bacteria. It's a parasitic bacteria. So it drills into these cells, the tissue, hides from the immune system, and feeds off of your nutrition in your body and uses you as a host. So, it wants to be comfortable in your body. So there are some signs sometimes that you can look at that will kind of give you hints to which that maybe you have a problem with Lyme. So if you want to switch to the next slide, Phil, there's some
Michelle,
common.
I want to ask you something before you go to this. You start
Sure.
on this slide. You just
Yeah.
triggered something in my mind when you said it uses your body as a host. Would it be, is it plausible that a person who is not very healthy and has a weak body would have a more mild effect from the infection because the host isn't, you know, supporting it? Would a healthier person have a worse reaction because the
Right.
host would be, have more nutrients to offer the invader?
Right. And that's an interesting concept. I mean, I never even thought of it that way. I'm sure you could be right. I mean, what ends up happening is at first, because you're healthy, it really starts going to town, it starts to really go. And then as you get weaker, I think it kind of hides and burrows in the body and just kind of waits. But it almost waits until you can start getting better and feeling better, and you can be going along going okay for a couple months. And then what would happen to me is something, if I either got a virus or I was really stressed, or I didn't sleep very well for a few nights in a row, or I let my immune system somehow or I let myself get run down in some way, that's when it would start to come out again. Though it's almost like once I would weaken myself more, then it would start to try to take over more. And I don't know if it's because it's struggling because it needs more nutrients, to live. Too, I don't know, but it's
Yeah,
interesting for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, here are different symptoms of Lyme disease, and these are some things to look out for because the testing is so unreliable. So if you find that you have any of these things, these can be some different things that can come up in you. It can cause fatigue, like constant and overwhelming fatigue. Not just I'm really tired today, like fatigue you can't get out of bed kind of fatigue. There's joint and muscle pain or any kind of other pain, neuropathy, nerve pain. It can cause stomach issues of any kind, flu-like symptoms, fever, body aches, weakness, cold intolerance, sweats, vision loss, or double vision, tremors, rapid or irregular heartbeats. It can cause a lot of brain issues like poor concentration, poor memory, brain fog, hard to put words together or think of what you're going to say next. Anxiety, panic attacks, depression, trouble sleeping at night, and it can start to cause issues too, where your body temperature can go low because it does affect the thyroid quite a bit and adrenal glands. That people that have Lyme sometimes will have very low normal body temperature. So they never, if you would go and take your temperature, it's not usually going to be 98.6. It's usually going to be somewhere between 96 and 97, or sometimes even lower. So people
Hmm.
with Lyme sometimes are freezing all the time, even with relatively warm out to others, like thing in my hand, like this. But I think it's also because of the connection thyroid in the adrenals, because it takes a really big toll in those areas of the body, because it does like to control the bacteria, likes to control the temperature of your body because it's supposed to be colder in temperature because it starts to die off at a high heat point. So if our body temperature is at 96 or higher, when we have an actual fever, that our body has a fever because it's our immune system trying to get off these pathogens. And so the Lyme bacteria is smart enough to try to keep your body temperature lowered so it survives. So it's so crazy when you think about it's like invasion of the
Very
body
intelligent.
snatchers.
Yeah,
It's
very
not
intelligent, isn't it? Yeah.
right. You can
And
flip to the next slide though. So here's just some a visual of all these different things. A lot of people have digestive disorders. Some people are paralyzed. You can have numbness, different things like that. You can have arthritis. There's a lot of other things, brain swelling, his severe headaches, tremors, TMJ. It can cause blood clotting, heart issues. So there's a lot of people that have chronic Lyme for years and years that end up, wanting to commit suicide. We've seen that in our Lyme community. It's so sad over the years because you're in so much pain and it goes on for so long and nobody can help you, and it starts to feel very lonely, you know. you can't live your life the way that you want to. You can't enjoy your activities you used to enjoy, and it becomes very depressing and very lonely, and it affects your mood a lot too. So that's another thing with Lyme that can be quite scary as well. But you can switch to the next slide, Phil. So here's some common diagnoses that can be caused by Lyme. Lyme, the bacteria being the pathogen being an underlying cause of these diseases. But these are some diseases that might, when you go to the doctors, these are some diagnoses that they might tell you have. Bell's palsy, number one, is a very telltale sign of Lyme. So if you get diagnosed with Bell's palsy, a lot of doctors will say, "Let me test you for Lyme disease," because palsy is one of the first things that can come out as someone who has had Lyme that has not been treated. It's also, very common chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, thyroid and adrenal issues, TMJ, IBS, C, which is interstitial cystitis, which is an inflammatory bowel or inflammatory bladder condition, and that's very, very common with Lyme as well. Seizures, SIBO, gastroparesis, POTS, myocarditis, which is very interesting to me because myocarditis is one of those, the inflammation of the heart that has been very common in the last couple of years with the vaccine and with COVID, which is very interesting to me that, Lyme and this kind of bacteria also has caused this for years in people with Lyme. And I think there's a very big correlation and connection between COVID, even long COVID especially, and even the vaccines and Lyme disease, to be honest. Multiple sclerosis, one, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and long COVID. I also wanted to mention that there was an interesting study done. There's been a lot of them. You can, go to PubMed and look up Lyme disease and lupus, Lyme disease and Parkinson's. They have a lot of published research on the correlation between the two things. But there was a Dr. Alan McDonald years ago who examined brain biopsies of patients with confirmed Alzheimer's, and 7 out of 10 of these patients had the DNA of the Borrelia burgdorferi bacteria in the brain. There's also another doctor who did lots of research on MS, because of doing MRIs and seeing lesions in the brain with MS. One of the other things that cause lesions in the brain is Lyme, bacteria. So there's a lot of in the Lyme community, doctors that specialize in Lyme, and in Lyme treatment. Many of them think that cause of these diseases, because nobody knows causes of these are Lyme or some kind of pathogen that's in people. So if you have any of these, diagnoses, I would, recommend that you look deeper to Lyme as being an underlying cause. And you can come see, a naturopathic practitioner like me or someone else, in the area to, come and kind of dig a little deeper and find out if that's, the basis of one of your, your diseases. You can switch to the next slide, Phil. So this is another thing, like those lesions I was talking about. These are lesions in the brain of a Lyme disease patient who is misdiagnosed as having MS. So MS is, like, I believe, of Lyme that gets to go in the body. It causes so many issues that it causes the MS symptoms. You can switch to the next one, Phil.
It'll last like 90 days.
Another thing is, I thought this was a really interesting visual. If Lyme disease can be full of people who are misdiagnosed with Parkinson's disease, then the Parkinson's must be full of people who really have Lyme. And that's really powerful because people are just giving that, Parkinson's, the doctors are giving Parkinson's patients like things to help their nervous system, but really, if they gave them something to maybe control the bacteria and to get rid of the parasites and to, a lot of B vitamins and a lot of fish oil and CoQ10 and antioxidants, people could see a lot of improvement possibly in their Parkinson's. And one famous person Parkinson's, is Mighty Fox, and he also had Lyme years before that. And I don't know if they've connected the two things, but I'm sure that's what was going on there.
But this is all about cause and effect. Yes,
Correct.
Parkinson's is not a cause; it's an end result.
Right.
Right? All of those things you
Exactly.
listed on that previous slide, they are symptoms. They are not causes. The
Right.
bacteria is the cause. And
Right.
you're right. Like with Michael
Exactly.
J. Fox, there were multiple causes. I think with him, he had Lyme, but he also
Yeah.
was a big Diet Coke or Pepsi drinker, and aspartame
Right.
has been shown to
Right.
be one of the causes of Parkinson's. But
Right.
what you said also, Michelle, is that these people like with Parkinson's and these other things, we've been treating people with Parkinson's for 20 years and slowing down
Right.
the progression with CoQ10, fish oil, high
Yep.
amounts, but it slows it
Right.
down. And that's the
Yes.
same thing could be done for Lyme.
Exactly. And you're so right. I mean, that's it. The problem I'm seeing with the medical community right now is that it's a band-aid, or a pill for an ill, and there's no what is actually the underlying cause of this problem. What is the root cause of this? And let's get to the bottom of that. So that's what we in health community like to do. We want to cause and start from there and work our way up.
Mhm.
You can switch now. So we like what you just said, Joe. We have to support the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. There's so much involved, and so a lot of times it's better for somebody to come for an appointment and be one-on-one, so you can see what their individual symptoms are as well, and do a cytosine or do something like that with muscle testing to see what their actual issues are, so you can tailor their protocol more specifically to them, because every person who has these issues, something to heal the gut. A lot of times support needed for the thyroid and adrenals. Most of the time, you have to reduce the stress for sure, lower inflammation in the body, stay hydrated, water super important, proper nutrition, getting the right exercise, and I know it's hard when you're tired and have Lyme and you don't feel like exercising, but it's very important to stay moving and keep moving. Um, proper sleep is very, very important. Addressing, vitamin and mineral deficiencies and nutrition, your emotions and trauma, because that's very important as well as getting to underlying causes. And of course, one of the important things is supporting your detox pathways, doing things to sweat and to help your body get rid of these toxins. You can be on a protocol for Lyme that kills off, helps your body off the bacteria. But if your liver pathways or your kidneys or your bowels or any of these detox pathways aren't working well enough, or if you happen to be a person that has MTHFR gene underlyingly that you don't even have any idea that you carry one of those gene mutations, you're not going to your methylation phase are going to be kind of blocked. It's almost like we're going to now try to kill off all this stuff in your body. It's going to create a bunch of trash, but your trash man hasn't come to pick up your trash for 3 weeks, and now your body is starting to get a little sick. So trying to support the whole is the best way to go about it. And so it is a lot of things at first for people that have these kind of issues. It seems almost like, oh, I got to do a lot of stuff all at once. But if you really want to feel better, you kind of have to encompass the whole body at first to try to support the body as you try to get rid of the bacteria and the pathogens. So
Well,
I
this
do
slide,
have faith.
this slide is like a blueprint for optimal health, with or without Lyme.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And if more people did that, even in the Shake a Day Club, Joe, if we had more people doing, the power cleanse and the lean greens, just those two things together, I probably 80% of the people would see huge differences, because you're addressing a lot of these things, just with those two products. So sometimes that's the way I like to start with people, is to be like, let's start you on the power cleanse and the lean greens. Let's do that for a month and see where you're at. And then we'll come back and address the rest, because you're going to be a little stronger now, address these pathogens, and your body's going to handle killing it off a little better. You're not as weak anymore, So
Mhm.
sometimes that's the better way to go about it in the first first place, really.
Jamie would be
I
so happy to
do.
hear you say that. He's not here in the
Good.
room.
I hope listening.
He'll see it though. Yeah.
He taught me well. You know, you guys all have
Take
been
the day club. Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah. So I do have a favorite of mine, a favorite protocol of my, top 5 core protocol that I like to give people time, especially people that I have not seen in an appointment. So if it's just somebody that walks into the store and I want to give them the top 5 things they can start with the people most, can tolerate well and will help. You can flip the slide and I'll show you what those are. So this is my protocol that I like to use as the core of the pro. I like to use the Power Fuel. This is going to be the amounts that I usually use with people, and then I'll go on to explain the product a little. But Power Fuel, 1 scoop in the morning, is an amazing way to start the day. So I mix that up in my water, and sometimes what I do is put that in with either my Power Cleanse or my Best Whey protein and use it as part of my breakfast. So I would, mix a scoop of Power Fuel in with my protein shake mix, and I will take the rest of my supplements with that drink so that I'm, getting everything at once and I can do it quickly on my way out the door. So Power Fuel, 1 scoop in the morning, the Super B Complete capsule in the morning, Immunomax capsules, which I prefer the chewables just because I feel like they help me a little bit. But 2 capsules in the morning, Parakill, 4 capsules in the morning. These can all be taken on an empty stomach, or you can do 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening before dinner time. And then the SPMs, take 2 soft gels right before breakfast and 2 soft gels right before dinner is a good way to start. Now, these can be, manipulated to change to see what the person needs. Sometimes we can go really high and we need way more SPMs at first, or we need loading doses of these things at first. This is a general protocol that everybody can kind of start with, to just, see how they do support, so the processes in the body to kind of get things moving. You can switch this slide. So Power Fuel is the first thing. That's a powder. It comes in orange. It comes in mixed berry. It is the best thing to help with, I feel like, fatigue from Lyme, because it has the DMG in it. It has these amino acids, so many minerals. There's some all the oxidants and things in there, but it's so great to support ATP and the mitochondria and cellular energy at the start of the day, getting up and starting that out. Getting yourself to feel a little bit more energy when you're that fatigued. It's kind of giving your body that cellular energy and endurance, and it helps with and the cardio aspects are amazing as well. So that is one thing that I think is essential to getting your energy back. And sometimes if you're super fatigued, I'll do a powerful scoop and then take a DMG at noon and another DMG. So that, sometimes if you're really, you can just add, a couple DMG to the Power Fuel throughout the morning, and you can really start to see that energy coming back, that fatigue going away. It's amazing. Okay, the next slide, Phil. So the Super B Complete. This is amazing. This is the best formula for B vitamins that I have ever taken in my life. And I've tried tons of supplements. This is so great for stress, for focus, for energy. And it has all of the Bs. It has the best form of B vitamins, the methylated forms of the B12 and folate, which is essential for people that have MTHFR and might have a methylation issue. So without really knowing what they have going on, it's a good way to get them help with detox and energy and to kind of nervous system all at once, and boost them up a little bit as well. The next slide, please. Well, Immunomax comes in the chewables or the capsules, and you can take one. The chewables actually have a little more in it, but I really just love the capsules so much. But it's great to boost the immune system for colds and flu. Has all of the best ingredients to not only boost your energy as well, because this is another one I feel like kind of boosts my energy. I just drank my shake and took all this stuff, so I feel like I'm like bouncing off the walls right now. But you'd never know I had Lyme. But it really helps to
You
keep
sure have a
me.
lot of energy, Michelle, for a Lyme patient.
It's these supplements, Joe. I swear. I'm so tired without them. I swear. But it really, really helps you to keep your immune system boosted season through COVID, through any other viruses. So even when I'm not having a Lyme flare, I take more of these. But if I'm not, I take 1 or 2 every single day just to make sure I maintain my immune system, and it does wonders. Okay, the next slide, Phil. So Parakill, and this best formula for killing off Lyme and boosting immune system at the same time that I've ever seen, because there's different ingredients in here that not only kill parasites, but they will bacteria, they will kill viruses. They will help to boost immunity, help with your GI system. So it kind of does so many things at once, and I have not noticed with any person I've given this to. Most of the time when you have Lyme and you start a protocol where you're killing off a bunch of stuff, you can have a reaction, which I want people to be aware of. You can maybe feel for the first 4 or 5 days a little bit worse, almost like some flu-like symptoms, because the bacteria trying to die off and your body's trying to move it on out of the body. So sometimes you can have a little bit of healing crisis. But what I do notice with the Parakill is that I've seen very few people have any issues with having those kind of reactions when they're taking this. And generally, if I am going along fine and haven't needed the Parakill for a long time, but I come into having a flare of Lyme symptoms and I start taking Parakill, either two to 4 of them a day, I within 4 days, I'm feeling 100% better again. Even if I felt terrible the day that I woke up and I know that I'm having a flare, within 4 days of starting these things, I'm feeling so much better, like 90% better. So they work quickly, and most of the results pretty fast.
This is a formula,
slide.
Michelle, that we it was a revision. The original formula was
Yes,
Paracleanse, and it
right.
was in a tablet. It was a tablet. So
Yes,
this one was we fortified it with some new ingredients and put it in a capsule, which is across
right.
the board getting us much better results. Yeah.
Oh, good. And I noticed I like it better for because I did love Paracleanse and always used that, but this is even better. This is so much better. So next slide, Phil, please. The last thing on the list here is the FEMs, which, when I first was diagnosed with Lyme, these weren't out yet, but these are amazing. I'm finding that they're helpful even with the people who have had the vaccines, who are having a lot of inflammation in the body, who have long COVID, who have, any kind of inflammatory illness or autoimmune condition anyway, but it lowers inflammation. It helps with healthy aging. It really is like just so good at almost like a natural steroid, trying to really quickly get down that inflammation body and help with pain. So I noticed with the kind of pain I have with the joint pain and muscle kind of pain, the SPMs, and making sure to take those and get that inflammation down, this helps me immensely. So that's my protocol. And I can start to wrap this up a little bit. I hope everybody try to understand some of the misconceptions and different things that Lyme can cause. I'm gonna where they can find me, and then we can do some questions. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, I can answer some questions. I'm everything natural under the sun. In Altoona, and there's the address, 3415 Valley Boulevard in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and the phone number is up there. I do take appointments, so call that number 814-943-6330 for an appointment with me. I do appointments and see, or you can email me with any questions or anything at my email there. It's michelle.lepore5@gmail.com, and I'm also on Facebook a lot. So
Michelle,
that's where I'm at. And
let's before we let you go, We have audience members
Sure.
here today who have been taking diligent notes, I've noticed. So
Awesome.
I wonder if they have any
Okay.
questions right now for you. Anybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a report now. I can't remember what it was. I should have wrote it down.
I
Yes.
have a question.
Yes.
My husband has.
Hold on. Get you on the mic.
My husband has just been diagnosed with Lyme. Now his blood test, he was having all kind of symptoms like vertigo, but then they said the vertigo wasn't from the Lyme, it was from testicular neuritis, is what they called it. But they said his blood work showed that his symptoms weren't from the Lyme, that he had Lyme. I didn't understand that. How do I know when his symptoms are? He has
Right.
degenerative arthritis also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's a common thing that happens because the doctors really, most medical doctors believe that once you had Lyme before, they think that they can give you, 10 days worth of antibiotics or 14 days worth and you're going to completely healed and cured. It's never going to come back. But that's not the case. And most people don't even get that many antibiotics. And in reality, you need at least 28 days of antibiotics within 30 days of a bite to hope to not get any issues from it. People don't get that, unfortunately, and that causes the issues. So the doctors, I don't understand as well as they need to. Lyme, dizziness, and vertigo are very, very common with Lyme. They also, can be caused by blood pressure going up or down, and that, blood pressure tends to be a little lower sometimes, or high, but most of the time lower in Lyme. But all of those things can be caused by how they can go in and mess up your body temperature. Go in and mess up a lot of different body. I would say that your husband, if he started this protocol that I did, as long as he's not on any kind of medications that would interact, I feel like he would start to notice a huge difference in probably those symptoms going away, even in the arthritis symptoms. Now, sometimes we need to start like this, and then you need to be seen by somebody to tweak that protocol to make it more individualized for that person's individual symptoms and individual. But that being said, most people who have Lyme as an underlying cause, who have been bitten in the past, and it's in the issues, once they start trying to treat that Lyme and pull off that bacteria and get the back in balance and get the inflammation down, all of the other symptoms as far as pain and dizziness and vertigo start to just go away. Even if you're not treating them directly, they just start to go away because you're treating the bacteria and killing it and getting it out of the body.
She has one more question. Go ahead.
he also was just diagnosed high blood pressure. Now he's never had high blood pressure in his life, and the doctors just say that it's
Okay.
stress.
And well, first of all, how high?
Well, like say 153.
Yeah.
140.
And how old is he?
He'll be 70.
That's not that high for a 70-year-old. Okay.
And
No.
they put him on medicine.
That's age. It's age normal.
Right.
Yes. He should not be on blood pressure
He's
medication.
trying to get
Right.
off of it, but they won't take him off.
Yeah.
Of it. He never took. We take nothing. No pharmacy.
Yeah. See, blood 120/80 is not for everybody. Okay. When I know it's not, and I know doctors that will attest to that.
Right.
There was
Right.
not. There is a range. If you're at the gym, your blood pressure is going to be 180 over 100 or 110.
Right.
Because of
Could
that.
have been from the Lyme, or
Yes.
Could that have been from? See, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Because they're saying that it was stress and stuff, but when you just said
Yes.
that about pressure.
Yes.
And I mean, stress can cause it too, but your body's going to be really stressed if you Lyme. So,
Yeah.
I mean, stress can
You know,
definitely
here's
work
the
like that.
thing.
We
That's
know
what's
that.
going to happen.
But when you're in
All right.
pain, like this of Lyme,
These doctors don't know anything else. They take your blood pressure. Oh, here's the marker. You're above it. Get on the drug. That's it. That's all they
Right.
do. You need a new doctor.
right.
Mhm. Fire him. You need a new doctor. Okay, Michelle, we're almost out of time, and
Yeah.
oh, one more question. You remembered it. Okay, good.
I just have a comment that I have Lyme's or had Lyme's, and when I had severe pain in my arms, I had pain in my head. The dry sauna at my workplace stopped all my pain.
Hmm.
So when you were talking about the
Infrared sauna.
getting the temperature up,
Hmm.
so the temperature had my body temperature had to be down. It wasn't taking it, but it had because I had the chills,
Yep.
and I had like
Mhm.
pains in my arms, like spasms. So I would definitely recommend a sauna. to
Absolutely,
anybody that has
yes.
Lyme. And I'm
Yes.
gonna use it more because I work at the gym. So I'm
Absolutely.
And
definitely
an
gonna
infrared.
I don't have the pain.
That's always a part of my program.
Mhm. Yeah, infrared saunas for sure because
Yeah.
that's the far infrared.
Sauna
gets-
was a very important.
Yeah.
A hot. Thank you.
Well, the infrared saunas don't have a temperature regulation. It goes up to about 115, 120, and then that's it. It stays there. There's no regular on the infrared. It doesn't change. Yeah, about 120. Okay. Well,
Listen,
thank you.
everything natural.
Yep. Yeah.
There's everything natural can go up to 150.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's one more question too
Good.
on Facebook here that says is vertigo a common of Lyme? And it absolutely is. Vertigo is a very common symptom of Lyme. Just so
Right.
that person knows. Yeah, that's one to watch out for sure. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the infrared sauna is great. In case you didn't hear that part, but we love that detox.
Exactly. Okay, great. Well,
So,
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're a regular with us, Michelle, and we'll have you back again in March, maybe this time in person. Okay?
Yeah, this time I'm going to do my best to get there in person. So we
Great.
Thanks a lot,
Okay.
Joe.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Bye-bye. Michelle LePore, everybody.